I don't know about you guys, but I've been kind of monitoring what's been going on with Joann's coverage just in the media, and I just was noticing a trend in the past week or so that all of a sudden the spin for a lot of these articles is just very positive and upbeat. So I wanted to talk about that and also get your opinions on what you think it will take for Joann's to have a successful comeback after bankruptcy. All right, so I want to bring up a few different articles here. So this first one here, and yeah, let me know what you think. Like, what do you think Joann's needs to do in order to really come back strong out of the gate? Maybe clean up the finances. What would you like to see happen in the stores? So I found this article. I have a few articles. So this one is, and these are all, by the way, linked in the description box if you want to check them out on your own. I do have some show notes with all of the links of things that I feature. This is from bizjournals.com. Not really familiar with this one, but I just have noticed a trend with the headlines of these articles that they are just like, I don't know, it's almost like press release journalism. It's like they got a press release from Joann's talking about how great everything's going to be, and they just kind of ran with it. So I don't know what's going on, but this says, Joann Inc. exits bankruptcy with the strongest financial foundation in many years. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, okay, so this is actually picked up from the Cleveland Business Journal. So it says, Joann Inc., the parent of hundreds of Joann fabrics and craft stores nationwide, emerged from bankruptcy court on Tuesday in its best financial shape in recent decades. Well, I guess that will do it if you can get rid of half of your debt. So Joann's owed about $1.2 billion, and the bankruptcy proceedings basically wiped out about half of all of the debt. So, hey, if you can do it, you can do it, right? The Hudson-based Ohio retailer of fabrics and craft items halved its long-term debt of $1.1 billion and fully repaid its obligations to employees, vendors, landlords, and other trade creditors during a month and a half in bankruptcy court without reducing its retail footprint or employee headcount. Joann emerges from bankruptcy with $153 million in new financing, the company said Tuesday. So this is straight from the press release. So they're basically just parroting what Joann told them. Now, do you think Joann is a reliable narrator in this situation? They're literally just taking everything Joann told them in the press release and they're just sort of spouting this out. Joann Inc. also emerged from its so-called prepackaged bankruptcy proceeding, meaning a majority of the company's lenders and creditors agreed to its plan of reorganization prior to the bankruptcy filing as a private company. All of Joann's 42.2 million outstanding common shares have been canceled, so Joann is no longer a publicly traded stock, and the company goes forward owned by certain of the company's financial stakeholders and industry parties, Joann Inc. has said. All right, so there is the statement from Chris DiTullio, Joann's chief customer officer and currently co-lead of the interim office of the CEO. Joann does not currently have a permanent CEO. All right, it was the company's $1.1 billion in long-term debt, most of it taken on to pay shareholders in the company's first 2011 going private transaction, combined with rising interest rates and post-COVID supply chain disruptions and retail sales drop that caused the company's mid-March bankruptcy filing. Yeah, Joann, which was founded in Cleveland in 1943 by German immigrants Hilda and Bertold Reich and Matilda and Sigmund Rohrbach, and went public in 1969, was acquired for $1.6 billion in cash by private equity firm Leonard Green & Partners of Los Angeles in 2011. By March 2021, Joann Inc. had substantially paid down its debt, refreshed some of its stores with new branding, displays, and merchandise, and significantly beefed up the online presence at Joann.com, its e-commerce website, before going public again. So, what do you think about this article? I don't know, it just seems to me like it's literally just press release journalism. They didn't really do any investigative work. There's really no news gathering involved other than them just kind of reworking what was in the Joann press release issued by Joann's. And I saw the same thing in this other article okay, it's from MSN. I think this is actually from Fox 11. So it says Jo-Ann Fabrics and Crafts makes a bold comeback after filing Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Because, yeah, everyone's doing really awesome after they just filed for bankruptcy. That's a really good sign. I just find this kind of, I don't know, just ridiculous. In a striking turnaround from recent financial woes, Jo-Ann, one of America's leading fabric and craft retailers, has successfully navigated its way out of Chapter 11 bankruptcy, securing a future for its expansive network of over 800 stores across the nation. This includes maintaining all 11 locations in New Jersey, signaling a significant commitment to its loyal customer base in the Garden State. Wow. Yeah, same thing. Notice it, like, this article is very similar to the last article, and it just seems to have the same, like, stuff from the press release. I don't know. And then there's this other article. This one was a little, they did a little bit more, like, introspection here. This is from Retail Wire here, and it says, how should Jo-Ann capitalize on its second chance? And I think that's a good question. Like, what does Jo-Ann need to do differently? Obviously, filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy doesn't mean the company's doing awesome. Let's be real. So this says, earlier this year, Jo-Ann, the 81-year-old fabric and craft retailer from Ohio, filed for bankruptcy due to a significant decline in customer spending, as reported by CNN. So at least they're being realistic that, the company is not doing that great because people aren't spending that much money. Despite securing $132 million in new funding to reduce its $1 billion debt, Jo-Ann assured customers that its stores and online platform would continue as usual. Okay, that's straight from the Jo-Ann press release. The bankruptcy process, which involves transitioning to private ownership, aims to streamline operations and reduce debt levels. According to Neil Saunders, managing director of Global Data, the bankruptcy of Jo-Ann has been looming for a long time and was always a matter of when rather than if. He noted that the retailer's customers were increasingly opting for lower-priced rivals like Hobby Lobby due to weakening store standards and declining customer service levels, partly because of staffing cuts. Previously discussed on Retail Wire was the notion of bankruptcy being the end of Jo-Ann. This also revealed a growing discontent on social media about the frustrations of the retailer's customers. These customers expressed dissatisfaction with the quality of Jo-Ann's products and store locations. Now in a swift move, Jo-Ann is on the verge of exiting bankruptcy proceedings. Expectations are high for Jo-Ann to conclude its financial restructuring and step out of the court supervision in the coming days. The arts and craft retailer announced that its prepackaged joint plan of reorganization has been confirmed by the U.S. Bankruptcy Court. Expectations are set for the company to emerge from bankruptcy with significantly reduced debt, marking its lowest level in over 10 years. Okay, so this is kind of the same information here. Creditors, yeah, of course, creditors want to get any money they can rather than nothing. All right, and again, you see this same quote from Chris DiTullio. This is also straight from the press release. And I'll actually bring up that press release just so you can see. Okay, apparently the website can't be reached. Okay, so Jo-Ann has this website called like Jo-Ann Forward where they've been kind of updating everyone about the bankruptcy. All right, apparently it's down, so I can't even check that out right now. Okay, oh, here we go. Here is the press release. And I want to bring this up just so you can see that a lot of this, like a lot of the reporting done by legacy media outlets about Jo-Ann is just coming straight off the press release. It's nothing, real. They're really not doing a lot of legwork here on this story. So look at this. Jo-Ann enters new era of creativity poised to serve the sewing, craft, and DIY industry with lowest levels of debt in more than a decade. And you can see it's the same stuff. They have the numbers with how much they got in financing, no store closures, no layoffs. It's got the quote from Chris DiTullio and Scott Sekula. So you can see how, and this happens a lot in media, is that, sometimes reporters there's some lazy journalism happening for sure in the media. And sometimes there's something called basically press release stories where you just take the press release, you rework it, and then you release that as an article or a TV piece. And there's really not a lot of you know, they clearly didn't put a lot of work into these pieces. It's literally just straight off the press release. But yeah, that's definitely what's going on. And then I did see this other press release put out by Latham and Watkins. They are I guess some company that's like helping Joann in the bankruptcy process. So they also put out a press release about their role in the whole thing. So that's the latest on Joann, but I just thought it was kind of strange that all of the press this week seems to have a very positive spin, and it seems to coincide with Joann's own press release about how awesome things are. So, yeah, kind of interesting. The other thing I noticed that Joann's had done, and I want to show you this because it's a little bit comical, but Joann is actually getting trolled on their own Instagram. So let's check that out because I just thought it was kind of a little bit funny. So Joann posted this on Instagram a couple days ago, and it's like, building on 80 years of rich history, today we enter a new era of creativity, and we are so excited about the future. So they want to kind of tap into this nostalgia. So, you know, they got the old photo of the old-timey photos of the shop. You know, here's their old marketing, you know, from the olden days before they had to file for bankruptcy, and all of the value had been extracted by a private equity group, you know. So they kind of Joann throughout the years here. And here's the current logo. But I just noticed the comments are hilarious. Like, everyone's kind of making suggestions. Like look at this. Didn't you just file for bankruptcy? And notice the replies. Yeah, I was wondering the same thing. And then Joann actually wrote back, I love this. Hi, we are out of bankruptcy and can't wait to continue serving you. Well, okay, you know. This person wants less discounting mentality. So a lot of people are really kind of going off on Joann and the state of the stores and the inventory in the comments here. Please, not so much fleece and flannel. It takes up well over half of my store's inventory all year. Only a tiny selection of overpriced apparel fabric. Less home decor, more materials and supplies. A better reward system that can be used online too. Pretty please. Go back to the original mission, fabric store. Doing so would make you the only physical fabric store in some places. Let Michaels and Hobby Lobby handle crafts and home goods. Focus on better apparel fabric to support your great pattern sales. I just think this is like kind of funny, but I love Joann's response. We are now out of bankruptcy and can't wait to serve you. All right, pay your workers the living wage for their area. None of them are paid enough to be well informed, and then customers are frustrated that the staff don't know what they're talking about. So, I mean, these comments just go on and on. You know what? I will say, though, credit to Joann for not deleting the comments, because a lot of brands and accounts will delete the negative comments. So I do give them credit for actually leaving these up and responding to some of them. So I'm like, okay, go back to the second logo. I mean, I do kind of like seeing Joann throughout the years. Like I remember Joann's from like the 90s, you know, back in the day. But I just thought it was funny that everyone's like really dumping on Joann in the replies here. Like, oh my gosh, I don't know. I take this to mean that there is a future for Joann that only works if you make some changes. That's actually a good comment. It's obvious that what we, your customers, want and need. Hint, it isn't flannel or fleece or home decor. Shout out to this giraffe heart. I agree with this. And not one of them has an S after Joann. So I thought that was funny. Like, all of these people are like, you guys need to change. So, yeah, been a bit of a week for Joann, for sure. But that's the latest media coverage